So Rusty is a T-style guitar by a brand called Rust Belt Guitar Co., which I don't really know if that's a real brand or not. More on that later, but that's part of why it's called Rusty. Also, each of these kind of hardware pieces has quite a cool patina on them. I have no idea when it was made, but probably about 5-10 years ago, because it's a parts caster. I was at my local guitar center on June 8th, 2022 is when I picked this up. I was just looking in the used section and it caught my eye, and I could just tell across the way. I was like, that's nitro paint. I just knew. I don't know why or how I knew. It's just like the sheen on it or something. I was like, that's nitro paint. And it's got some relics here and there, but not super crazy. It feels like a pretty thick coat of paint. And we can open the relic can of worms again if you'd like, but that wasn't really what was drawn to me. There's just a couple of things of checking here and there, but up until then I didn't really like Telecasters, or at least I just hadn't one that like really resonated with me. And this thing was used. It was marked at $299, so I ended up paying $330 after tax. It's pretty simple. It's just a standard Telecaster. I really kind of like this bridge. I think it's just classy and simple. When I looked up Rust Belt Guitar Co., I really couldn't find anything other than like a Facebook page and just a couple pictures of a guitar similar to this one online, and there's one other one where I didn't really see the body, but it had the same sticker and it was a maple on maple. So when I was actually doing the research and kind of leading up for this video, I was getting those pictures ready, so I re-googled Rust Belt Guitar Co., and when I really got into it more, I clicked on, a couple of different things like the pictures, which brought me to an old Reverb posting. And I really looked at the pictures. I was like, wow, that really is like the same color. I wonder if they made two of them. Because in the picture, you can see that it has a Bigsby and it's got a different strap, of course, which is not exactly permanent by any means. But I was like, well, yeah, this one doesn't have a Bigsby, so it must have a cousin or a brother. And then when I zoomed in on some of the chips and the damage, I was like, wait a second. I think this is the guitar in those pictures. And so I was reading about the guitar on the Reverb post, and it was that the Bigsby, which I don't have, or it didn't come with it, was from like an 80s Gibson SG, I think it said. And it made sense too. So the person that made this guitar, I think Rust Belt Guitar Co. is just a hobbyist, and that's like what they put on their guitars. So on the original Reverb post, it was listed at $550. With $100 shipping, and it also offered local Chicago pickup. And again, that wasn't me. But what I'm guessing is that somebody did buy it in the Chicago area, and that guitar strap had the Chicago skyline, so I thought that's pretty cool. So I'm guessing that they bought it for the Bigsby, because they took the Bigsby off. They probably kept the guitar strap, which was really cool. And then they put on this bridge, which I don't really know if there's any specific name for this kind of bridge. But it does say Wilkinson by, I was trying to figure out what that is, like Sung It or Sung Illinois, Sung 1L. I'm not sure what that is. But you just string it by feeding it through, so there's nothing in the back. Very simple. And actually in the recording process, I was having such trouble with the E string because I think I just cut it too short, and it was just kept constantly slipping and actually coming out. I thought I broke the string at first, but it eventually just needed a different string. So tuning is pretty good. I think if anything, these open top tuners have really grown on me, but maybe if I'm feeling ambitious someday, maybe I'll put locking tuners on it, but I don't really think that's a high priority. It took me long enough just to get around to stringing it. Rusty was the T-style guitar, if you will, that really made me like or understand Telecasters better. Everybody always kind of has an opinion on them. I feel like some people love them. They're the end-all be-all. Leo Fender did it once and got it right, and I think for other people, they're just not their cup of tea. But I'm happy that I like Telecasters now, and actually there's one over there too, so it's they've definitely grown on me. What really caught my eye again was the sonic blue finish in nitro, as well as the flame maple. I'm not sure if the light's going to do that justice, but it is really pretty. And I believe this is authentic rosewood. So yeah, again, it was $550 on the Reverb post, and after that person bought it, I assume that they bought it for the Bigsby, and you can kind of see here where the Bigsby would have been. There's a little bit of wear. They did an okay job kind of filling it in. But when I walked into the store, and I ended up purchasing that day, my friend at the store, Trent, he said that a friend of his brought it in, and so maybe that's the person in question that bought it for the Bigsby. But he said that when he sees that person next, he'll let him know that it went to a good home. So this this guitar's been with me for just over 2 years, and I don't play it a ton necessarily. It fits a pretty cool niche. Unfortunately for Rusty, Forrest has kind of stolen a little bit of its thunder with the Telecaster, but I really do like this one. It is a budget beast, as I would call it, and I think that's what's so cool is it's one of a kind. Having that cool backstory of, you know, it's on reverb, it had something else, it's been doctored here and there. The song or the riff that you heard in the opening is from a song called Shaken that I have, and I have lyrics and words to it. It's just not being done produced, so I just wanted to record. That is actually the take in the video of me playing. I'm not just, you know, lip syncing, but I go back and forth between like thinking of that song as like a throwaway song and just like learning to produce it and actually really liking it and wanting to put it out. It's just not quite done yet. I started that song like late September, October, and it was like on a Tuesday, my day off, I just sat down actually with Rusty and just picked it up off the wall and was like, okay, it's your turn today. And just like the first thing I played was, you know, and it was just like such a, I don't know, just like where my fingers fell, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And, you know, I just kind of went with it, and I just spent like the whole day on it, like making lyrics, recording vocals. And it was like right after I had started taking vocal lessons, and so that was like the most finished song that I had really ever had up until that point, and in some ways still. I have one other one that I've completed since. But this guitar and that song and that production really played an important role in getting me just where I am today, just about a year later. And I really have a lot of ambitions about making more music, putting more music out, and even if it's just as simple as just me and the acoustic guitar, kind of like in the Summer Nights video, I'm okay with that. And I want to show you more what I've been working on. I keep writing new stuff and working on new things. It makes me really happy. It's just sometimes I feel like I get so caught up in creating a lot that I don't finish it, or I'm trying to finish something and I don't create. And so I'm working hard. I also am looking to kind of play with a drummer at some point soon, just to see if, you know, more things can be written or just created, because there's going to be two of us or several of us. And so that's kind of a little bit of a check-in on the music and on the channel front. And yeah, I'm just going to keep Rusty's story pretty short, and we're just going to go from there. Up next here is Ike. Ike is one where this thing's been through kind of a lot of mods, it seems. Ike has been through a lot of mods. It was even cheaper than Rusty, but I'll try to film that soon. Don't have to keep you waiting for like 3 months. I'm sorry that I'm so slow. I just get really busy, and sometimes it's just hard to get myself to film these, but I do have a lot of fun once I actually start. So take care. Peace.